Hey everybody, and welcome to the 28th episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast. Took a little break, but now we're back to discuss the NCAA men's basketball tournament, the play-in games which start tomorrow. I know everybody loves this time of year, especially after last year not having the tournament. So I know everybody's excited. As far as Big Ten fans go, man, this is an exciting time. Big Ten has a couple number one seeds. I think they have 4 or 5 teams in the top 10, so we're going to discuss those guys. We're also going to touch on each game in the first round, kind of give our predictions, maybe give a Final Four prediction or a finals prediction. But obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Michigan basketball. We'll talk a little bit about Ohio State basketball and Big Ten basketball in general. But glad to be back on here, me and my co-host Bub Dunn. So hope you guys enjoy this week's episode.
Here we are. It's NCAA tournament time. Let's just hop into that. Let's talk a little bit about the ending of the Big Ten regular season. I can't remember the last week that we did, but Big Ten season's over. Illinois ends up winning the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, Illinois is tough. I mean, if you really look at the whole season in general, I mean, obviously Michigan didn't have as many games played because of the whole COVID thing. And Illinois, they beat Michigan pretty easily, and even without one of their starters. So, they had the whole Illinois saying they should have won the Big Ten, and Michigan technically wins the Big Ten because of winning percentage and all that. But that's a tough call because Illinois is playing very well. They are.
They are. And Michigan won the Big Ten, the regular season title. Illinois wins the Big Ten tournament. Like you said, you hear the people for Illinois, the coaches, the fans, saying it should be a split title. I mean, that's not how it works. Michigan can't help that they played, 3 less games. The 3 less games they played, I think they had Nebraska, Northwestern, and one other one on, maybe Penn State on that schedule. So that's most likely 3 more wins. That puts them at 17-3 in the conference, and they're still in first place anyway.
Like you said, those games. I mean, anything's possible when you're playing basketball. That's why they play the games. But for the most part, yes, I think those are 3 pretty easy, very winnable games. And I think, like you said, I think Michigan comes out on top on all 3 of those, finishes 17-3, and does win it outright.
Right. To cap off the Big Ten standings, we'll go through all of them. Michigan finished first at 14-3, Illinois at 16-4, Iowa third at 14-6, sneaky Purdue, 13-6. They finished the game ahead of Ohio State, who finished 12-8 in the conference. Then you drop to the most disappointing team, in my opinion, after Michigan State in the conference was Wisconsin. Wisconsin was 10-10 in the conference.
Yeah.
Started off hot, had all these expectations. Remember, Michigan just put their foot down on their neck early in the year and just destroyed them up by 40-something at one point. And, man, they never recovered. They just did not bounce back. They had a pretty average season. Rutgers tied with Wisconsin at 10-10. Then there come Michigan State, ended up 9-11. Maryland 9-11. Indiana 7-12. Penn State 7-12. Northwestern, another team who started off pretty good this year, ended up 6-13. Minnesota, who was once ranked, they gave Michigan their first loss, ended up 6-14. They ended up losing 11 of their last 14 games overall, just brutal.
Yeah.
Nebraska brought up the rear of the Big Ten, finishing 3-16. Not a good team in Nebraska. But Big Ten, the first 6-7 teams, really, really tough teams. When you have Michigan State finishing 9-11, that just tells you how deep the Big Ten is. Yeah, they were down a little bit this year, but they had some talent. They came back toward the end of the year. They beat Michigan. They beat Ohio State. They beat Illinois. There's a couple games that they won that, that Izzo-led team, man. Say what you want about Izzo. I'm not a fan. I don't like the way he does things.
I completely agree, but you can't take anything away from his coaching ability and what he gets out of the kids that he has up there.
Absolutely, man. And as far as we're concerned, Michigan, started off super hot, ended up losing 3 of their last 5. We had the injury to Brooks. Not excuses, not making excuses whatsoever. But Brooks gets hurt against Michigan State. Changes, he gets hurt at the beginning of the game. The game started off hot. He started off hot. They go on to lose that. Then they lose again to Illinois. Just get waxed, steamrolled by Illinois.
That was terrible loss.
Even without Dosunmu, I think it's Dosunmu. That's it.
Yeah.
Even without him, they ran right through the Wolverines, and showed why they're in my opinion, one of the 5 best teams in the country. And then losing that heartbreaker to Ohio State there at the, in the Big Ten tournament, without Livers. Livers goes down a couple games earlier. He plays through it one game, finds out he's got like a stress fracture in his foot. Feel bad for the kid. He's a senior. He's been hurt the last two tournaments. He's been hurt, which sucks for him. Great player, embodies what it means to be a Michigan man.
I agree. He's a fantastic player there.
Hopefully, it doesn't hurt his stock. I think he's a good 6th or 7th man in the NBA. I think can be like a Duncan Robinson type.
I agree. Yeah.
But just having that leadership on the floor, man, that really hurt them against the Buckeyes, because even though the Buckeyes had a kid out too with a concussion, good defender who put up I think it was the young kid or something like that. I don't know too much about him, but with him being out, I would almost liken Livers being out. That would be like Washington being out for Ohio State. So, you're taking away our second leading scorer, our senior leader, a guy who's 43% from the 3-point line. Just has that experience. So with him not being there, I think it really hurt in that game. And hopefully, if Michigan can make some kind of run in the tournament, maybe he'll be able to make it back. But honestly, I don't look for him to come back with that type of injury, with thinking he's going to get to the next level and maybe have a chance. You don't want to see him, jeopardize his future. Yeah. Selfishly, I want to see him come back, sure, but
for sure. But yeah, like you said, you don't want to make things worse than it already is.
Right.
Because especially with someone his talent, he could, like you say, easily go, be a 6th guy, and that's a big paycheck. So you don't want to take a chance in ruining that, or making it to where you may not have that possibility. But it did hurt. Early in the season, when that first loss to Minnesota, when Brooks went out, and then he goes out again, that right there, that hurts. Both those 2 early losses were when Brooks was out.
Sure.
Now, Brooks and Livers, to me, they're both those quiet leaders on the team, and those guys that you look at their stats and you're like, man, I didn't realize that he had this many points in a game or this many assists in a game. But it's like you look at their stats and they're really solid stats, and you just don't see when you're watching the game. You're like, he didn't have that many points, or he didn't have that many, but they do, and they're a big part of that team, and they really, the leadership that they bring really helps to bring that team together and make them play the way they do.
Sure, they both play pretty solid defense. Brooks is an almost elite defender.
Absolutely.
They're both kind of
Livers
spotty.
Not so much. Yeah, and Livers not so much on the defense, but he gets hot. He'll drop 3-4 threes. Play pretty good defense. Gets you some rebounds. And then Brooks just has that. I don't know. Again, with the sneaky, the way he does it, it's like, he'll next thing you know, he's 5 of 7 for the field, and 2 threes and assists and blocks. He's a very good, underrated player, I think.
Absolutely. And again, another senior, that senior leadership, right. Just having that out there on the floor, especially when you have, a transfer in Mike Smith out there. You have Franz, who's still only a sophomore, Dickinson, who's a freshman. So it's like having those 2 guys out there, having them banged up, that really hurts, So hopefully Brooks is healthy going into the tournament. Hopefully, selfishly, Livers can come back, maybe if they make a little run, but, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, but obviously I want the kid to be healthy and think of his future as opposed to what a couple games might do. I mean, I'm sure it means a lot to him, and he'd love to be out there if he could.
Let's touch on, a few of the guys we just talked about, Franz, Hunter, Livers. Those are obviously the 3 best players on the team. Stat-wise, Mike Smith obviously contributed a little bit, but just going through and touching on the stats of the 3 guys. Franz ended the year 12.8 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.4 steals, shooting 84% from the free throw line, which is huge. That's one thing you go through this Michigan roster. They can shoot their free throws, man. Even Dickinson, Dickinson ended up with 14.2 points a game as a freshman, 7.6 rebounds, 1.4 blocks. He shot 76% from the free throw line. Livers,
which is huge for a big man.
Absolutely huge, man. You're over 7 foot. Being able to have that touch is fantastic, and that helps. So you can't have like a hack-a-shack deal. When it comes down late in the game, they think, hey, we can hack this big man because he can't shoot free throws. So that's a huge plus. Livers into the year with 13.1 points a game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 43% from threes, mid-80s from the free throw line. I don't have Brooks. I don't have anything from Brooks pulled up, but Mike Smith, man, he's going to be the catalyst. He's going to be what takes Michigan as far as they can go in this tournament. I mean, he ended up with 9.1 points a game. I think he averaged like 2.5 rebounds, 5.6 assists or 5.4 assists, something like that. He had the big game, a few nights back, 18 points, 15 assists. But I think that elite scorer that he was at Columbia, with Livers being out, he's going to have to step up, and he's going to have to start scoring more.
Yep. And I think he really can easily. I think with what he's been asked to do, since getting up to Michigan, is be more of the straight up point guard, your Walton and your Simpson, distribute the ball, drive and distribute the ball. And that's what he, came up here, and that's what he's been doing. But I think he has that ability, and I think he can very easily take over the scoring aspect of that as well. I think he's a great mix of your one and your two there, because he can drive and pass the ball, but he can score just as easily.
Absolutely.
And like you said, he's going to have to do it for them to be able to have a good run. The only thing I'll say with that, as far as making a run with Smith, like you said, he's got to do that. But Dickinson's got to quit being soft, and Wagner has got to play well. If that can happen, all three of those things, they can easily make it a long run in the tournament.
I think the keys are the two big keys are Smith and Wagner. I think he's too inconsistent. When he's on, he's a machine. To me, when he's on, he's one of the top 20 players in college basketball. When he's off, you're like, what's going on out there, man?
Yeah.
Lackadaisical passes, not playing great defense, getting in foul trouble. But he had some games this year where it was just absurd. And for him, I don't know if you saw the Big Ten awards that were handed out.
I did, yeah. The second team.
I
remember we talked about that. It was just like, wow, what happened here? How did they miss this?
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's go through the Big Ten all-first team first. Not defensively, just overall, the Big Ten all-first team. Kofi Cockburn and A.U. Dosunmu for Illinois. Both rightfully so. Both great players. Cockburn he's almost unstoppable. That guy, he is what I want Dickinson to be. But, he's got 25 pounds on Dickinson, so he's a different frame. But, man, if Dickinson can get in there and battle and throw some elbows and like you said, he's just too soft. He's still a freshman. He needs to put on maybe 10 more pounds of muscle, be a little bit more of a pit bull underneath the rim. But hopefully that's something in the offseason he'll bulk up a little bit. Luka Garza, of course, probably the front runner for National Player of the Year. E.J. Liddell from Ohio State, big thing with him. Watched him play a few games this year. The kid's 6'7", plays big underneath, but he can also step out and has a good touch on the three-point shot.
I agree.
And then the first team's rounded out by Trevor Williams of Purdue. And I got to be honest, I didn't watch Purdue play once this year. I've heard things about Trevor, good things about Trevor, but I've never seen him play, so I can't personally comment.
Yeah, I never watched any of theirs this year either.
So no Michigan players. Michigan finishes first in the Big Ten. No Michigan players on that first team. But the second team is composed of Dickinson, Livers, Wagner. What's the kid's name for Iowa? Wieskamp, I think. Joe Wieskamp.
Yeah, Wieskamp.
And the kid from Indiana, Trace Jackson Davis, I believe. That rounds out the second team. And it's just crazy to think not one Michigan player on that first team, but it's like, who do you take off of that first team? Michigan didn't have that standout guy. They complemented each other so well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's
like there wasn't one just main player. They all came together as a unit. Were very good together. And for the most part of the season, it seemed like when one person wasn't on, another person would step up and take that place.
Right, and I think that bodes well for the tournament. That's good basketball where, hey, we're not relying on one or two guys. We got 4 or 5 guys
Right.
that can really stand up, stand out and come in and put the team on their backs. Even Shawnee Brown, who, man, he was so frustrating late in the season because it seems like he just got out of that groove offensively. And, man, if he doesn't start off hot, I heard somebody online talk about this the same way the other day. If he doesn't start off hitting a few shots, you might as well just back up the truck, man. Play defense, but stay off the offensive side because, man, he misses a couple and it's just like it just continues. It's a snowball effect of just back of the rim, front of the rim, back of the rim, front of the rim.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
and with his defense, he could do. I mean, obviously you want people to be able to score, but with his defense, he could keep more points off the board on defense, I feel, than he can contribute on the offense. So if you're not on, be the passer, get the assists, move the ball around, set some screens, do your part other than, throwing up some shots that, may or may, who knows, might have a chance to go in. But there's always ways you can contribute even if your shot's not on.
I agree, man. And the real kind of just the laugher in this whole situation is the all defensive team. So you got Trent Frazier from Illinois, great player. Daryl Morcell from Maryland, Aaron Henry from Michigan State, Jamari Wheeler, Penn State. Gotta admit, I didn't see him play this year either. And Miles Johnson for Rutgers. Now, I'm sure all great players. I know a few of those guys I've seen live. But to not have Franz Wagner on that all-defensive team just blows my mind. Michigan was number one in defensive efficiency out of all the Big Ten teams, which it just, crazy. You would think, man, somebody that is number one out of all the Big Ten teams, you think they got to have a guy on the defensive team. But I was looking at a stat that said this is the 5th time in 7 years that the all-defensive team had 0 players from the team that led the league in defense. The 5th time in 7 years. That's kind of an obscure, odd stat, don't you think?
Yeah, that's very strange. I mean, like you say, you would think that someone would be, on that all-defensive team, on a team that has the best defensive efficiency. I mean, that would essentially, heck, you would think even maybe 1 or 2 people.
You would think.
Yeah, that doesn't make a bit of sense at all.
Well, the part with Franz, I mean, it's like, you're not being a homer, man. You look up these numbers, and I don't know if you know what the box plus minus is. It's basically an estimate on the contribution that the guy makes on the court, right? So, say, a guy has a box plus minus of +5. That means for every 100 possessions up and down the court, the team is 5 points better with this guy on the court, right? Well, Franz had a 5.7, a plus 5.7 box plus minus, which led the Big Ten, was 6th in the nation, right? Was one of 3 players in the Big Ten to have a steal rate of over 2.6 and a block rate of over 3.3. I just don't get how you don't put that on the first team all defense. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know you said someone had either had posted that or tweeted that or something that was, saying that how is this guy not on that list? And even, showed all those metrics and everything.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's laughable, dude. If you watch the game, I mean, here's the dude, 6'9", playing like he's 6'10", 6'11", huge wingspan. I mean,
he can shoot the ball, like a wing out there, 6'4". I mean, he's one of those super versatile players.
Absolutely. Just the way though he disrupts the offense when he's on defense, man. To not put him on there, it's baffling. I don't understand it. Daryl Morcell for Maryland ended up winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Hunter Dickinson won the Freshman of the Year. Of course, Juwan won the Coach of the Year, rightfully so. But the guy I liked that won the Sixth Man of the Year was Andre Corbello from Illinois. This guy is so much fun to watch. To me, he was a huge difference in that Michigan game. He came in with DeSomu out, and he just took over. Again, super fun to watch. I think that kid has a bright future in the league for sure. To sum up that, the Big Ten awards, anything like that, you have any thoughts or anything that comes to mind?
Oh man, for the most part, I thought they did a pretty good job. There was some that, were like we talked about before. I mean, that Defensive Player of the Year, I think, or defensive, with Wagner not being on that list, I think that was a little skewed, but I could also be biased with that.
I agree. Well, like we talked on earlier a little bit, two Big Ten teams made coaching changes. One, Minnesota, after 8 years, fires Richard Pitino. I didn't realize how bad of an overall record he had. He ends his tenure there, 54 wins, 96 losses. He only had 3 finishes that were better than 10th in the Big Ten. This year, they just struggled. They got, they were ranked in the top 20 there for a while, ended up 0-10 on the road, lost 10 of their last 14. Just brutal. But for him, less than 12 hours after getting fired, he gets hired by New Mexico.
So I saw that.
He didn't sit idle long. So maybe he'll go down there and do good things. I'm not a Rich Pitino hater or anything. I'm not a fan of his father.
Right.
But he seemed like a pretty decent coach at times. But man, that Big Ten is tough.
It is for sure.
Indiana made a coaching change, kind of.
I was surprised at that. I really was.
Very surprising. Archie Miller out after only a couple years. Ended up with a career record of 67-58, 33-44, I believe, in the Big Ten. What got me there, though, is here's a guy who's making $550,000 a year in base salary, plus $1 million in deferred compensation. He had a buyout of $10 million.
Why was it that high?
Right? Like, if you're him, it's like,
Jeez.
Well, we kind of stink.
He just won the lottery. Yeah. Good Lord.
Now, if they would have waited till, I think, April 1st of 2022, that buyout would have came down almost $7 million to, I think, $3.3 million. So you're thinking, Indiana didn't have a terrible year.
No.
What in the world are you doing? Like, financially, that doesn't make a lick of sense.
No, that doesn't at all. What makes it no sense is why would that even be in the contract?
Good on him, though, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
For putting that, it's like the Bobby Bonilla Mets deal,
Oh, God, no kidding.
Do you know about that?
Oh, yeah, he's still got, like, 4 more years to get paid or something like that?
Dude, he'll be getting paid. He'll still be getting paid a year after Fernando Tatis's contract's up. So
it's 2035, isn't it?
2035.
Jeez.
The smartest deal a player ever put together.
No kidding. That's insane.
Well, that kind of wraps up, the talk of the Big Ten for now. Going over the AP Top 10, how it ended, how the final AP Top 10 was this year. We had, of course, Gonzaga 26-0. Man, it's just hard for me to take Gonzaga seriously year in, year out. The league they play in is terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
There's so many cupcakes.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about this, like you said, they have a cupcake schedule as far as their conference schedule goes, and some of the non-conference that they do as well. But with that being said, they did play some tough games this year. I know they played against WVU, they played against Kansas, they played Virginia, maybe one other big name team. But I know the game against West Virginia was a really close game.
Mm-hmm.
They blew out Virginia.
And Virginia's not the same Virginia this year that they
were last
year.
No, it's not. It's not. But the teams, like the big name teams that they played that were ranked, they pretty much took care of business. I mean, it was, even though they destroyed the teams in their league, they still took care of business in those non-conference games against the big name teams. So, I hate to say, obviously they're a great team, but I do think they get a little bit of, they haven't been beat. Well, yeah, they haven't really played a whole lot either. So
yeah, they
come play up in the Big Ten and see if you can get a loss. My guess is they come to the Big Ten, they might have at least a loss or two.
100% agree, man. Here's the teams they play. You're talking about some big names. They started the season against Kansas. They beat Kansas by 12. Beat West Virginia
but Kansas isn't the same Kansas that's been in the past few years either.
Right. Beat West Virginia by 5. They were supposed to play number 2 Baylor. That game got canceled. They did beat Iowa by 11. So that's 2 quality wins right there.
Yeah.
They beat Virginia. They blew out Virginia, but those were Virginia was sandwiched in between 2 northwestern states, a northern Arizona, and a Dixie state. That's legit, man. I mean, from the time they played Iowa in December, so they played Iowa December 19th. Since that date, they played Northwestern State twice, Virginia, Northern Arizona, Dixie State, San Francisco, BYU, Portland, Pepperdine, St. Mary's, Pacific, San Diego, Pepperdine, Pacific, BYU, San Francisco, St. Mary's, San Diego, Santa Clara, and LMU. I mean,
Right.
that's the last 3 months, man. I think that's why they always get to the tournament and they always seem to make a fairly quick exit, round 2 or round 3. And
Oh yeah, absolutely, because they always get a super high seed. But then after you go through your, if you get a 2 seed, you're playing a 15. I mean, after you go through these couple rounds of teams that you play because you have such a high seed, and then you meet a higher seed that may have a few more losses, but they also play in a harder conference.
absolutely.
And the next thing you know, you're going up against a team that's probably better than you, even though they've got 3, 4, 5 more losses than you do.
Now they got, I think they do have 3 guys on the Wooden top 15 list. So they obviously have 3 good players, which obviously Luka Garza's on. I think even Hunter Dickinson made that list. Going back to the top 10, man. Gonzaga, number 1, 26-0. Illinois, second at 23-6. Baylor in the third spot, 22-2, followed by Michigan, number 4 at 20-4. Alabama, 24-6.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, 24-3. Ohio State in there at 21-9. Iowa 21-8, Texas 19-7, and Arkansas 22-6. So the Big Ten comprises 40% of the top 10.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
I agree. I was, and honestly, I think the preseason ranking as far as the Big Ten goes was Iowa was supposed to win it, right?
I think so.
Wasn't that the projection?
I think Michigan was predicted like number 7.
Yeah, and I don't remember Illinois anywhere in there.
Man, I tell you what, if you can get past their coach was kind of a tool bag, but they're a heck of a team, man. They are so well-rounded. Yeah. I think they're going to go far in this tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the championship game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that here in a minute, but
yeah, because I've got them going pretty far.
Well, man, let's jump to that. Let's jump to the tournament. The first 4 playing games start tomorrow night. You got Texas Southern versus Mount St. Mary's. The winner of that's going to play Michigan. You got Drake versus Wichita State. The winner of that will go on to face USC. UCLA versus Michigan State. Isn't that crazy to think that they're playing a play-in game, 11 versus 11? The winner of that goes on and plays BYU.
It is, man.
And you have Norfolk State versus Appalachian State. And anytime a Michigan fan say Appalachian State, we kind of get a little queasy at our stomachs. But the winner of that will go on to play Gonzaga. So, yeah, I think I don't know, man. I got Mount St. Mary's. I got Wichita State. I got Norfolk State, and I got Michigan State in those 4. What say you?
I can't remember who I picked.
Way to be prepared.
Yeah, no kidding. I think, to be quite honest, I mean, playing games really to me don't mean a whole lot because for the most part they're going to go straight out.
I don't know, man. I think.
Well, I tell you what. Who's the other? Where's the other?
I think Michigan State, dude. I don't think they're going to go right out.
Oh no. That's the only thing I was going to say. I actually took Michigan State to win the play-in and to beat BYU.
I
actually took them going 2 rounds. Yeah, I think they're going to get beat after that though by Texas. So I think it comes in there, but I do think they can play, and is this a good coach? They have the talent there. It's just they've got to get it all together. I mean, obviously you've seen it in when they played Michigan. They have it there to do it. It's just whether they can or not.
100%. Well, man,
it's all in their head there.
Let's each go through our bracket. Let's go, not spend a whole lot of time on it, but let's start in the West. You got your West bracket up?
I got you.
All right, dude, let's start. You got Gonzaga playing either App State or Norfolk State. I don't think it matters. I think Gonzaga moves on there.
Oh, I agree.
Next, we got
I've got Gonzaga going all the way to the championship game.
Yeah, could happen. Way to, spoiler alert. But everybody just tuned out.
Yep.
All 4 of you just tuned out. Next game, you got number 8 Oklahoma versus number 9 Missouri. I took Oklahoma in that game.
I did the same.
We got followed up with Creighton against UC Santa Barbara. I think Creighton's always one of those teams that makes a run.
Yeah, I took Creighton.
So I took them, and admittedly, I don't know anything about UCSB, so Creighton sound like the way to go with that one. Virginia and Ohio. This one's kind of, again, it's not the same Virginia team as it was, but I still got to take them beating Ohio. The level of competition, Virginia plays is a little bit different than the level of competition in the MAC, so I'm still going to take Virginia in that one.
We're 4 for 4.
Oh, man. We got number 6 seed USC versus the 11th seed, which the the play-in game, Wichita State, Drake. Again, I don't think it matters. I think USC moves on. We 5 for 5?
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Next, number 3 seed Kansas taking on Eastern Washington. Didn't even know Eastern Washington had a team. Going to go with Kansas there.
Yep, I'm the same.
7 versus 10, Oregon versus VCU. I got Oregon in that one. VCU.
I actually took VCU on this one. I know, but for some reason, I took them.
Okay. That's 7 and 10. That's usually you're gonna see
That's close. Yeah.
Usually gonna see a 6-11, 7-10, some kind of upset there. Next, you got Iowa versus Grand Canyon. Yeah.
Just skip that one.
I think we're both in concert with that one. So let's stay.
The Hawkeyes are going to fly over the Grand Canyon on that one. I'm just saying.
Let's stay in that West Division, man. Let's finish it all the way out.
Okay.
Then we'll go down through. So in that next round, man, I got. I'm just thinking about Grand Canyon, dude.
I didn't even know they had a university.
Oh my goodness! So in that next round, obviously we got Gonzaga. At least I have Gonzaga versus Oklahoma. I got Gonzaga winning that one.
Yep.
I actually got Creighton going over Virginia in the following
I do too. I have the same.
We got Kansas going over USC.
Yep.
And I got Iowa going over Oregon.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I think we're only one different.
So in that round, we got Zags Creighton, Kansas Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Next, man, I got the Zags going over Iowa.
I have the same.
Man, all right. And then of course the Zags going on there, so they'll be in that Final Four bracket there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to the South next.
All right.
So the South, we got a 1 seed in Baylor, had a great year. 22-2 record. I watched them play a little bit that game against West Virginia. Just a fun
to watch.
That was a super fun game overall. But obviously I got Baylor going over Hartford in that. This next game, North Carolina, Wisconsin, man, I went back and forth on this one. And I'll tell you what, I don't even know if I filled it out.
Really?
I guess I did. And I went and I looked.
It's probably not going to make a difference on the next game because of who they're going to have to play.
Probably not. But I think that's a good matchup. To me, that's going to
I agree.
That'll be one of the better games in the first round to watch. And I actually went back. I took Wisconsin. I
took UNC.
I just went with their leadership. I went back. I looked at both of their rosters. I saw kind of more of the guys who play on Wisconsin seem to be more upperclassmen. I think that matters a little bit here. I've watched North Carolina, a little bit this year. They're just up and down. I think Wisconsin can get it done inside, but I think they can get it done outside. So I think it's basically a coin toss. But I took on Wisconsin in that one. But so we differ there. So I got Baylor and Wisconsin. You got Baylor and North Carolina.
Yep.
Next game we got a 5 Villanova versus number 12 Winthrop. I have Villanova going over there.
Mm-hmm.
We got Purdue going against North Texas, 4 versus 13. I got Purdue winning that one.
I got the same.
Got a number 6 Texas Tech versus number 11 Utah State. I got Texas Tech and Mac McClung right there. I got them moving on.
Yep, I do too.
And then after that, we got what do we got? Arkansas number 3, Colgate 14. I got Arkansas going there. I just don't know. Colgate was 14-1. But man, only playing 15 games. I don't know a lot about Colgate.
I don't either.
Arkansas had a heck of a year, so I have them moving on. Next, we got number 7 Florida versus number 10 Virginia Tech. I actually picked the Hokies for this one. I have Virginia Tech
Really?
going over Florida. I do.
I really didn't know anything about either one. So to be quite honest, I just went with a higher seed because I haven't seen either team play and didn't have a clue. So there's my reasoning.
Yeah, hey, that's people who predict these right or get it right or win their work pool are people who just have no idea anyway. They just pick, oh,
Yeah.
I like those uniforms.
Most of the time I say I like the uniforms.
Right. Last game in that bracket, you have number 2 Ohio State, number 15 Oral Roberts. Obviously, Ohio State, man, they're really, really good.
They are, yeah.
I have them moving on out of that one. Going back up to the next round, I got Baylor versus Wisconsin, which I have Baylor moving on there. You have
I got Baylor beating UNC. Yep.
Right. We got Villanova versus Purdue. I have Purdue moving on there.
Nice. I was going back and forth on that one actually, but I ended up taking Villanova.
Okay. Villanova seems to be a little bit up and down this year. They've had some injuries that I think are going to affect them in the tournament. So I went ahead and took Purdue in that one. Next, I have Texas Tech, Arkansas. I got a little upset here. I got Texas Tech beating Arkansas.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
Who knows? I haven't seen either one of them play, so I took the higher seed. That was just that's all I had.
Next matchup, I got Virginia Tech versus Ohio State, and I got Ohio State winning that game.
Yeah, I've got Ohio State winning the next one too. I think you said you probably got them beating Texas Tech.
I do. I have Ohio State beating Texas Tech. I have Baylor beating Purdue, and I have Baylor beating Ohio State to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I've got Baylor beating Ohio State to go to the Final Four.
And that one was tough for me.
I agree.
Watching the Buckeyes play, if Dwayne Washington is on, they are really tough. If he's off, you can kind of control him a little bit better. They got a couple sharpshooters. I can't remember the little lefty's name. Starts with an A, like Ames or something like that. Amos.
I can't remember his name.
Maybe did a little research on that one, but he's a sharpshooter, man. He's fun to watch. Of course, Liddell. I mean, they're really, really good, man. They're going to be tough to beat. If they would beat Baylor in that round, I wouldn't be surprised. I could see them easily being in the Final Four.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's move down to the Midwest. Sound good?
Sure.
All right, man. We got the 1 seed Illinois, 16 seed Drexel. I got Illinois going over.
Mm-hmm.
Got the 8 seed Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech. I actually got Loyola going over.
I did as well.
5 seed Tennessee, 12 seed Oregon State. I got Tennessee moving on there.
Yeah.
4 seed Oklahoma State, 13 seed Liberty. I got Oklahoma State moving on there. They're pretty daggone good.
I got Ohio State or Oklahoma State as well. Cunningham's a great player.
That's who I was going to say. I know he was hurt there at the end of the year, so if he's healthy,
I think he's healthy. Pretty sure he is.
I think they can make a little bit of a splash here.
They're a good team.
Next one, you have the 6 and 11, and we're always going to have a 6 and 11 upset. It seems like. So I took Syracuse over San Diego State in that one.
There you go. Again, I didn't have a clue because I don't know anything about them. But I just took San Diego State because of the higher seed.
3rd seed West Virginia against 14 seed Morehead State. I got West Virginia in that one.
Let's go Mountaineers.
7 seed Clemson, 10 seed Rutgers. I almost took Rutgers in this game. I
took Rutgers. I did.
Did you? I ended up taking Clemson.
I did.
It's like,
I went back and forth on that one, but I was like, you know what? I mean, Rutgers for 15 and 11 playing in the Big Ten, I'll give them a shot.
That one and the Wisconsin one. Those are the two in that first round that I kind of went back and forth on.
Yeah, that's again. Wisconsin's a tough. They were playing good at the beginning, and then kind of dropped off, came back. So I feel like they're kind of hit or miss as well, and sometimes it's hard to go against a name, especially when it's North Carolina, because and again the season's been kind of crazy with them this year, but you never know. So I mean, anything's possible. You know how it is with this tournament, man. You get one shot, one game at a time, and if you're on, it don't matter it don't matter who you're playing. If you're on, you're on.
For sure. And at one point, I'm totally looking at something different. I scratched that. I was going to talk a little bit about Clemson, but Clemson. It's funny because they beat North Carolina pretty handily this year, but then they turned around and got waxed by a bad Duke team. So they're kind of it's kind of up and down. They got destroyed by a Virginia team. They ended up beating Florida State one out of two games there. So they're kind of up and down. But I thought in that one I was like, let's go Clemson. I just couldn't bring them after watching Rutgers play a few times in the Big Ten. I didn't feel they had what it took to move on to that next step. But maybe so, man. They got Ron Harper Jr. is fun to watch, so should be a good matchup. Last matchup in that bracket, number 2 Houston versus number 15 Cleveland State. Obviously got Houston moving on there.
Yep.
Next matchup, we got Illinois versus Loyola. I have Illinois going over that one. I think we're probably in agreement on that.
We are.
Yeah, Tennessee, Oklahoma State. I took Oklahoma State there. Tennessee's playing well at the end of the year, but I took Oklahoma State, man, just because, like you said, Cunningham's been playing well all year. He's a stud.
I did too.
I think they're going to be a tough out. Next, Syracuse, West Virginia. I took West Virginia in that one.
Me too.
Clemson, Houston. I got Houston moving on there.
Yeah, I got Houston beating Rutgers.
So I got Illinois beating Okie State. I got West Virginia over Houston. So it's Illinois versus West Virginia in that final. I got Illinois moving on.
I agree.
The finals
I
of
agree.
that.
And I tell you, for some reason, I don't know why, but I thought long and hard on that Oklahoma State game.
Yeah.
I did. I don't know why, but for some reason, I almost felt like Oklahoma State was going to put it on them. But ultimately, I took Illinois.
I don't know if anybody's playing as good as Illinois is right now. I mean, just these
I know.
last 2 weeks, they've just been off the charts, man. Again, you have the 6th man of the year in Corello. You have him out there. You have Somu back. You have Coburn, who you can go inside to. Like, they just have piece after piece after piece. They're going to be a tough out, man. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run all the way. But let's finish that in the East bracket. Obviously, we have Michigan playing the winner of Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. I got Michigan moving on in that one.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be funny if you said no upset of the.
I almost did just to mess with you. I thought about messing with you. I was like, no way, dude.
Eight seed LSU versus 9th seed St. Bonaventure. I got LSU moving on there.
I took St. Bonaventure.
Oh, okay. You just like the name.
There's my upset. I actually watched them the other day. They had a game on TV, and I turned it on. I can't remember who they were playing, but they look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. So I was like, you know what? It's 8-9. Why not?
I think there I kind of went with your philosophy on the other side that I took the name. I don't really know about much about either team, so I just went with LSU in that in that scenario.
Okay.
Next we have boy Patrick Ewing coaching at Georgetown against the number 12 seed against number 5 Colorado. I got Georgetown going over. I got Patrick Ewing coming up with the upset.
There you go. Yeah, I went Colorado.
Understood.
Just because of the rank. I knew Patrick Ewing was there, but I was like 13-12 record.
Right.
Against, in a lesser conference.
I just took that for nostalgia purposes, man, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We got 4 seed Florida State against 13 seed UNC Greensboro. I got Florida State going over there, although I think that's a tough one too. I think Florida State's one of those teams it's scary. Like, if you're a fan of them, it's like, man, I'm scared in that first round, to be honest.
I don't know anything about either team, so
fair enough.
I didn't see it at all.
Got a 6 seed BYU playing the winner of the play-in game between Michigan State and UCLA. I got Michigan State in that one.
I do too. I got Michigan State winning the play-in and then beating BYU.
Got number 3 Texas versus number 14 Abilene Christian. I got Texas going over there. I think
Yes, sir.
in that one. I don't know enough about Abilene Christian, but I know Texas. So
Right.
I had Texas there. I know this year, Texas had a heck of a year, man.
Yeah, I mean, they finished 19-7, but you got to think, the Big 12 has got some pretty good playing teams in there. So, it's another tough conference.
Absolutely. What do we got left in that bracket? We got number 7 UConn versus number 10 Maryland. That was one I debated on, man. I kind of went up and down, but I ended up taking Maryland in that one. I think they have the
did as
pieces.
well.
I think that coach is fired up.
Yep.
After the Michigan game
I
there the
did.
other night when some stuff was said between, I don't know what was said exactly, but
I
he was
don't
fired
either,
up,
but
man.
Turgeon got fired up big time.
Right? I think that gets them going.
Yeah, I agree with you. I took Maryland as well.
Final game in that bracket, you got number 2 seed Alabama, man, 24-6 against a 12-5 Iona. I think I'm gonna go with Alabama there.
Yeah, I did the same.
In a shocking development, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Moving on to that second round, I got Michigan over LSU.
Yep.
I got Colorado and Georgetown. I think I have to look back at my list here. I actually took Georgia. Oh, I'm sorry. That was game 1. Colorado Georgetown. I'm sorry. I have Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have FSU over Georgetown in that next round.
Yeah. See, I've got Colorado over FSU. I just played I played the 5 seed over the 4 seed.
Sure, man. That's again, I don't know enough about a lot of these teams. You're just going on.
I don't either. I don't either.
I got Michigan State upsetting Texas in that next round.
Oh, you know what? I thought about it. I really did, because again, I've seen what they can do, but I've also seen the way they've had some really bad losses. So it's kind of like you never know what state team you're going to get when they step out on the court this year. So, but ultimately, I took the higher seed. I took the 3 seed.
I got Bama over Maryland.
Yep, me too.
Then, man, not to be a homer, but I got Michigan over FSU. I actually got to see these guys play a few years ago in, what would that have been, the Elite Eight, I believe. I think that's when they played Florida State in the Elite Eight a few years ago out at Staples Center.
I remember.
I got to go to that game, man. That was phenomenal. To see them win that. No, was that the Elite Eight, or was that to get to? Man, I can't remember. I watched two games that weekend, but that was fun. If you get a chance to watch any of those tournament games live, man, go do it, because it's a blast.
I'd love to.
But yeah, I got Michigan over Florida State there, and I got Bama over Michigan State. It would have been nice to see a Michigan State rematch, but I got Bama over Michigan State in that next round.
Yeah, I've got Michigan beating Colorado and then Texas beating Bama.
Oh, okay. So you got
I've got Michigan, Texas in the final 4, and then Michigan going to the finals, or for the final 2.
It's funny because basically I got the top 4 teams making it. I got Michigan, Illinois. I got
I do too.
Gonzaga and Baylor.
All 1 seeds.
And I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that. It just kind of, that's the way it came out. And do I think Michigan could be bounced early without Livers? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, anything's a possibility.
Of those 4 teams, to me, Michigan has the least chance to make it to the Final Four.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and I think Illinois is probably got the best. I think Illinois, Gonzaga have the best. I think Baylor has. I can see Baylor getting beat by Ohio State, man. I can see Ohio State being. I can see it being Gonzaga, Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois. You imagine 3 teams in the Final Four from the Big Ten?
Right.
That would be absolutely crazy.
It's a possibility. I mean, there's nothing that, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Buckeyes beat Baylor. I mean, they could. Especially if they're on. That's
right.
Just have to see how it goes. But
well, man, in one
who you got?
Right. In one semifinal, we got Baylor versus Illinois, and man, just the way they're playing right now, I'm taking Illinois. I'm taking them. Yeah. I think they're gonna make it there. I think there's no team right now playing better all around than Illinois is playing right now.
That's fair enough. For some reason, I took Baylor.
Man, the other side, the homer in me wants to say Michigan. The fan in me wants to say Michigan. But Gonzaga has 3 really, really good players. I think if Livers is playing.
Livers has to come back. If
But is he going to come? Is he going to come back healthy? I mean,
yeah.
What are you getting? You know, so
yeah, is he more of a liability? If he comes back?
An exciting game would be Michigan-Illinois rematch for the title.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing. More likely, Gonzaga versus Illinois for the title. If that's the case, I'm taking Illinois to win it.
There you go. Well, I like I said, I took Baylor over Illinois. So I've got Gonzaga beating Michigan in the Final Four. So I've got Gonzaga against Baylor, and I actually have Baylor winning.
Man, that would be something, wouldn't it? What a year Baylor had.
Fantastic year.
What a year all four of those teams had.
They've only lost 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, they were supposed to play Gonzaga this year, but that game got canceled.
Right.
Well, right now, per the Sporting News, the teams with the best odds to win the title, Gonzaga at plus 200, Baylor and Michigan both plus 600, Illinois plus 700, and Ohio State at plus 2,400. So those are your favorites.
So you got 3 Big Ten teams with odds to win.
Yeah, 3 of the 5 are Big Ten teams, man. And how can you discount Iowa? You know, Iowa could want to do it. If Garza gets on a tear, he's hard to defend, man. I don't think that guy's game translates to the next level. I think he's a bigger bodied Frank Kaminsky or somebody like that who I think he's too slow. I think he's not.
He's one of those fantastic college players that will be a 6th man in the NBA.
I don't even know if he's a 6th man in the NBA.
Maybe, yeah.
To me,
you never know, but I agree. He's a fantastic college player that you just don't know if how he's going to pan out.
To me, he's a big man who goes to Duke or North Carolina. They're great in college. They go to the pros, like a Tyler Hansbrough or somebody like that, a Mason Plumlee. I think Garza's a little bit better than him. He's bigger bodied, but he doesn't play defense well. He can stroke it, man. I mean, he can shoot from anywhere on the floor. The guy's got touch. He throws elbows every time he gets the ball. I don't know. Go back and watch them play. Anytime he's under the rim, dude, he throws that elbow. And I'm like, how are you guys not calling that? Ever. He
throws elbows and eyebrows.
Dude, his eyebrows average. I think his eyebrows average 14 points a game this year. It's unbelievable. I saw him block a guy from Michigan. I can't remember who it was.
With his eyebrow.
With his eyebrow.
I'm sorry, that's wrong, but
no, it's right. It's right.
Yeah, it is right. They need to do something with those.
Well, man, it should be fun. I don't usually get into it a whole lot. I watch Michigan games, but this year with the pandemic and the way things have been, and we didn't have a tournament last year. I think this year audiences are going to be amped up. I think
I do too.
I think you're going to see better ratings. I still don't like the fact they put some of these games on True TV, and I'm like, dude, put them on ABC, NBC, CBS, get them on the major networks so we can watch these.
Yeah, I don't understand why they do that. I think it has something to do with the contract of whoever has, like, because all those channels that they're on are like sister or parent or whatever, they're all related, and the channels are.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the same guy owns them all, so that's why they put them all on there.
Right. And
yeah, I agree. Like, why would you not have them on like ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, like the channels that everybody has?
Right, man. Have something to where you work it out each year. NBC can go to CBS and say, hey, man, how much for the rights for the games this year? You could do that. So it could be on every channel.
Or even that, just come out and be like, look, the NCAA can get it to where it's like, get the 4 main networks plus ESPN. That's 5 stations. ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and ESPN. That's 5 stations. And then you've got ESPN, 4,000. So really, depending on how many channels they want to really put it on, you can have a ton of them. But there's no reason. That's 5 stations. They only do 4 right now. So if you got 5 channels that you can put games on and have them on all the major main networks, it's, everyone should be able to watch all the games. Because there's some people who don't, they have like the main channels and some other like packages, but they don't have like True TV or USA or whatever these, all these other channels.
Exactly, man. I'm with you. That's why I think if they could just put it all on network all on network TV.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: 99% of the games are all during the day anyway, when there's nothing on TV.
The good thing about Michigan's opening game, they're going to play Saturday, so I'll get to watch that. Now, you who doesn't have a job, you can watch pretty much all these games. But some of us are out here working, cleaning butts, trying to lift people up out of chairs.
Well, it's a rough job, but someone's got to do it, right?
Well, dude,
I've been fairly busy, but not too bad.
I'm just playing with you, man. I know you've.
Oh, you know I'm lying with all the memes I sent you yesterday.
You did. I called you out. I said he's definitely at work.
Hard day at work, right? you know it.
I'll tell you what, man. I was at work the other day, and I lucked out during the Michigan game. They played at noon. That first round.
One of your patients was watching it, wasn't it?
No. I had. Okay. We have a meeting at noon, and I was typing my notes, so I just sat there with my phone on and watched the game.
There you go.
I know I shouldn't say this probably, but a few years back, I was treating a patient, and I can't remember if it was in Ohio or in Hawaii, but this was during football season, and the Ohio State-Michigan game was on. So I got this patient. I walk in. He's got the TV on, and as we start working, he's like, go ahead and turn that off. I'm like, no, man, I want to watch it. like all you're going to be doing is sitting on that edge of that bed, and you're going to be doing exercises. I'm just going to be standing here watching you. Let me at least peek at your TV. Well, he turned it off. He turned it off, dude, and I kid you not. While he's doing his exercise, I
turned it back on.
I reached over and grabbed the remote, and I turned it back on, and I muted it. And as we're working out, and he's doing his exercise, and it's not like I'm not paying attention to the guy. I'm watching him do everything, but I can glimpse up and see what's up. And as he did an exercise, he kind of leaned back, and he looked at the TV, goes, I thought I turned that thing off. And he grabbed the remote again and turned it off. I'm like, on it. I was like, I can't grab it again and turn it on. He's going to know what's up.
You should have. Oh, you should have.
I'm like,
dude, I don't know what's wrong with this TV.
So funny. But a lot of the thing where I'm at now, a lot of the patients, the majority of the patients are older folks, and they don't care about sports. So, if I'm working through the day, they're not going to have it on. Whereas when I was in Maui, man, you'll have a lot of young a lot of young patients who will have the TV on, and you can go into rooms and you can catch, a little bit here and there and kind of keep up. But I'm anxious to watch, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to watch it, hoping Michigan does well. I think they've overachieved this year, which is great. They got 3 All-Americans coming in next year. Juwan in his second year wins Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, takes him to a 20-4 record, a number 1 seed in the tournament, with people that aren't really his recruits, and 2 transfers.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, right.
The future there is just super bright. I'm hoping that we get a couple guys. There's talk that Mike Smith maybe stays around. That would be great.
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
that would help out a lot, just from the little bit that you see of Zeb Jackson. He's not ready to step into that role.
No, he's not. Not at all.
But it's going to be fun. One thing I do want to double back on that we talked about earlier with Archie Miller being fired at Indiana, there's some smoke there that they're looking at John Beilein, man. And I tell you,
I read that.
I want Beilein to have a job. Beilein deserves a job. He's one of the best guys I've met. He's just one of the class acts, man. You watch him, the guy knows the game. I think probably deep down, if he hadn't have taken that Cleveland job, he probably would have regretted not trying his hand at the NBA. However, looking out how it went, he probably is like, man, I had a pretty daggone good thing going at Michigan. Took him to 2 finals.
Absolutely.
It's kind of I loved Beilein, but I just thought he was that guy that wasn't going to get them over that hump. He got them there, but there's just something, Juwan has that experience. I was in the NBA for 19 years. I coached there for 6 years. If you want to get there, I can show you how to get there. Not that Beilein couldn't, not that Beilein didn't get guys into the NBA, but Juwan has that extra, insight. Plus he's young. I play with LeBron. I play against Iverson. I played against Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Guys hearing those stories like, holy crap, this guy can get me where I want to go. And you see that already with him getting those 3 All-Americans to come there.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that Beilein just couldn't reel in. He would get these guys, the Duncan Robinsons, which holy crap, whoever, thought this guy coming from a D3
Right.
school, and now I think I saw the other day where he's the fastest ever to, what was it? The fastest ever to 400 three-pointers or something like that. I think he did it in like 120 some odd games or something, which is great to see. He was a great player for us, man, but you weren't going to get that next level, I don't think. And I think that's something Juwan is bringing, that tenacity, bringing a little bit of that swagger, a little bit of that Fab Five vibe back in, which is, not that how Beeline did it was wrong. It was just different.
Yeah, it was a completely different system, and I agree. I loved Beeline when he was there. Super classy guy, classy coach. Just love the way he presented himself. But again, the style of offense there is completely different.
Yes.
Beeline was a 5-man out guy. Never played a center. It was always guards and forwards, live and die by the three. And he had the 1-3-1 sometimes with man, but just a completely different style. And I agree that Juwan, what he's done just in the short time that he's been there, has been phenomenal. I love the way he's recruited. The way, like you said, that kind of Fab Five style coming back. He brings that. It's almost the Beeline with his own mix. He's bringing that NBA, that extra NBA presence to what they had before when Beeline was there.
Cool moment the other day. I don't know if you saw it when Michigan, won the Big Ten regular season title, and Livers, Brooks, I think Davis, a lot of Beeline's recruits looked up to him. He was up in the stands, and they kind of all looked at him and waved, and he was up there. You could just see how proud he was and how proud they were. It was a really cool moment. And again, that guy brought so many good memories to Michigan basketball. Michigan basketball was I can't remember when you started watching Michigan basketball, but I've been watching it for
it hasn't been that long for me because I was never really a big basketball guy. It was probably around 2010, maybe. It was right about the time the Beeline got there.
Right.
Or maybe just after.
So, man, I watched through Tommy Amaker and Brian Ellerby. I watched some really, really tough to watch basketball. Some really fun basketball with certain players who were kind of playground players. Brent Petway, I don't know if you remember that name or not.
I do remember the name, yeah.
He went on to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. I mean, this kid could jump out of the gym, man. Super fun to watch. Robert Tractor Trailer, obviously back in the late 90s, Lewis Bullock. But, man, they went through a really, really tough patch. And some of it was self-inflicted with, paying players back with the Fab Five days and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We know all about that. But, man, it's good to see them back. It's nice to see, as a Michigan fan, it's nice to have something with the football season, the football team being just not what they once were. It's nice to have at least the basketball team there to be able to lift those spirits a little bit. I'm always going to be a diehard football fan, but man, they've made it tough too for the last, couple decades. So to be able to bank on Michigan basketball, and they've been solid for us the last 10 years, really,
Yeah.
Two trips to the finals, they've been to the Elite Eight multiple times, just couldn't get over that hump. I still feel like that game against Louisville, getting Trey in foul trouble on a block that wasn't a foul. Go back and look at those still shots, man.
Block. Yeah.
Taking him, National Player of the Year, taking him out of that game early, that should have been Michigan's title right there. They deserved it. Patino, scumbag Patino for Louisville. Just disgusting that he won that, man. He's just unlikable. All about the morals and the whatever. Take that out of it. He's just unlikable. But anyway, man.
Between all that and then the other guy hitting those, when they hit, was it 4 threes in a row?
That
after the second one, that guy wasn't even seen the ball.
No. But it's been fun, dude. It's we've had a lot of good things to cheer about. Hopefully, seeing a Michigan title, man. It's been 1989 since the basketball team won a title. 1997 since the football team won a title. So hopefully, sometime within the next 5 years, maybe we get one. I think it's going to be a basketball one before it be a football one, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I think we wrap up there. I think that was a good episode. We touched obviously a lot on the Michigan aspect, but I think we went over the bracket pretty decent. I know it was kind of quick. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun next couple of weeks.
I'm excited to watch.
And for us, I know not only is it fun to watch these games, but it also means that baseball's right around the corner. So
this is true.
Looking forward to that.
And for those in the in my area, it's coming sooner than later.
Right.
We actually start baseball tryouts Monday.
No kidding. Do you think you'll make the team this year?
Me? Yeah. I'm going to give it my best. Maybe they could use a backup catcher. I don't know if I've got any eligibility left.
All right, man. Well, let's wrap up the show. And obviously, with the tournament start and Michigan playing Saturday, we want to give them a big go blue.
Go blue.
Well, there you go, guys. That's this week's episode. As always, Bub and I want to thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. We love getting on here, bantering back and forth. I hate that we don't get to do it as much. Work and sports and things get in the way. Bub's off coaching his kids right now, and it takes up a lot of time. So hopefully we can set it up to where I can get some more interviews with some other friends and some cool guests coming up here pretty soon. But I also have another show that's kind of in the works with a friend of mine that we're hoping to get out here pretty soon, that we're hoping you guys will listen to and like as well. But again, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll be back soon with another episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast.